Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. In this video I will be diving into Hitman 3's second mission, Death in the Family, on Master difficulty with suit only and Silent Assassin fully intact, the HUD completely turned off with no cuts and no saves. The mission: eliminate Alexa Carlisle and retrieve the incriminating documents from a secure safe. To show you how I pulled this off, the video will be broken down into two stages. The first stage is the plan. This is where I'll be scoping out the level, finding hidden paths and secret passageways, gathering intel, and yes, making lots and lots of mistakes. The second stage is the execution. With the HUD switched off, I'll execute the plan that was designed in stage 1. As always, the loadout for the mission will be the original starting location, 47 signature suit, the ICA gold baller, the lockpick MK3, and 3 coins. Welcome to Supercut, the series where we take an entire Let's Play and squash it into one video. My name is Mr. Supercut, and this is the planning stage of Hitman 3's Death in the Family. In run 1, we headed toward the walled-off manor and watched on as a private investigator was welcomed in through the main gate. I climbed over a broken section of the wall, through the small bushes, across the dirt paths avoiding the guards, and climbed through an open window to the manor. I picked the lock to the nearby door which led into the butler's office, picked up some intel for one of the story missions or something like that, found a bottle of lethal pills, and then headed back outside and along the perimeter of the manor. I climbed a pipe and scrambled onto a ledge leading into a very messy bedroom indeed, found a hidden passage by tilting a painting, and then peeked through the hole into the next room to find Agent 4.7 whining down the phone. I climbed back out of the window and shimmied around the outside, coming so close to a guard that was peering out of the window I was sure he'd be able to smell me. But alas, he did not, and I climbed in behind him, almost got spotted, and then continued into the hallway. As I was about to be detected, I scrambled into the nearest room, found another secret passage by pulling a book off the bookshelf, and then realised I was looking through a two-way mirror at a rotting corpse. I exited through the secret passage and quickly climbed out of another window and found another pipe that led all the way up to Alexa's office. I snuck in after the guard had moved along and then tried and failed to figure out how to move the painting that was covering the safe. Whilst doing so, Alexa entered into the room, and as I attempted to flee the scene onto the balcony behind me, the guard decided to enter. I ran back in, shot Alexa dead, got taken out, so hit restart. In run 2, I got spotted by a guard whilst crossing the dirt path, so shot him dead, went on a rampage, got taken out, and hit restart. In run 3, I made my way back up to Alexa's office and climbed the pipe to the very top to avoid being spotted by anybody. I headed down the stairs, carefully sneaking behind a guard, and made my way into the hallway only to be immediately spotted by another guard who I immediately shot dead. I headed into Alexa's living space and found a hot cup of tea. Obviously, a cup of tea and lethal poisoning is a combination that's all the rage right now. Some people I'd killed had now been spotted, blah blah blah, so I hit restart. In run 4, I headed back to the butler's office, picked up the lethal pills, and then headed up the pipes and along the ledge. I saved the game before moving past the guard because I wanted to see what would happen if I ducked beneath him whilst he was looking out. Would he spot me, or would I make it past unscathed? He spotted me, so I killed him and hit reload. In run 5, I killed him again for no apparent reason and then hit reload. In run 6, I climbed in after he'd moved away from the window and choked him out, unfortunately getting spotted by the BTEC 47. I took him out as well and then hit reload. In run 7, I made my way to Alexa's office and snuck into a padded red room, through another secret passage, into the hallway, followed a maid into a linen room, choked her out and dumped her body, crept toward the hot cup of tea, poisoned it without being spotted by the maid or the man-made, and then headed back out into the hallway, causing one of the guards to become suspicious, and then watched on as Alexa headed toward the room where a cup of tea was waiting, and then pull off a mad 180 and head the opposite direction. The guard arrived, saw my bald head and drew his weapon, so I hit reload. In run 8, I poisoned the tea again and then climbed out of the window to watch Alexa conduct another mad 180 and couldn't figure out why. I thought it was a fluke in the previous run, but alas, it was not. I headed back to the office and using my super sleuth detective skills, figured out exactly where the button was to find the safe. It was right there on the chair. The safe had a 4-digit input screen and 4 icons above it, and again using my detective skills I was able to figure out what to do. However, I got spotted and killed, so I'd need to carry out my theory in the next run. In run 9, I spent a silly amount of time staring at the wrong clock, shot the guard in the room to make sure I had free reign of the area, and then began work on hunting down these items. The first I found was a giant moose head with a number 5 next to it, then a telescope with a number 9, then the fireplace with a number 7, and finally the correct clock with a number 1. After punching them into the safe in the correct order, I picked up the case files and then hit restart as I had killed a man. In run 10, I picked up the pills, and whilst poisoning the cup of tea, I got spotted, which was frustrating because the maid hadn't spotted me doing that before, so I launched an iron at the back of her cranium and hit restart. In run 11, I got lost on the rooftops and couldn't figure out where on planet Earth I was. I took a deep breath, collected myself, retraced my steps, and got spotted, of course. I launched the guard off a balcony and then hit restart. In run 12, I poisoned the cup of tea successfully and then retraced my steps and picked up the case file, almost getting spotted by a guard, sped all the way back to my motorbike, and then for the next 3 minutes I just watched this tiny red dot on the screen hover around until eventually she sipped the liquid poison and I could bike off into the sunset. This was definitely not a viable option, as if you've seen any of the previous episodes you'll know that I hate just waiting around for no reason. And so for this reason, plan A, poisoning Alexa and running away, had to be changed into plan B, which we hadn't thought of yet. In run 13, I ignored the stupid pills and headed straight for the office to collect the case file, and then headed through Alexa's red room and, using my instinct, watched her worm her way around the manor. Eventually, she made her way all the way upstairs and then did that 180, so I just hit restart. In run 14, I decided to see if interacting with the detective would be of any help, as in, if I knocked him out before Alexa could meet him on the ground floor and show him around, would that speed things up? I saved the game from behind the bush and then choked him out and dragged him away, but not before the maid saw me, so I hit reload. In run 15, the maid became suspicious because she could apparently see me through the trees. But when she arrived at the location and I was crouching literally in front of her face, she realised this was the definition of not my job and carried on doing whatever maids do. The detective had already hurried to the front door and the maid slowly followed behind, babbling to herself incessantly. I climbed through the open window and found that the detective, whilst waiting to be greeted by Alexa, actually entered through exactly where I was. So I choked him out, dumped his body, and then hurried toward Alexa's office, only to be spotted by the guard in the window, so hit reload. In run 16, I picked up a golf club and the lethal poison from the butler's office, knocked out the detective, collected the case file from Alexa's office, and then went to poison the tea just in case knocking out the detective made her take a sip any quicker. I watched her perform her 180 again, and realising that the cup of tea was a lost cause of an idea, I pressed on. I headed into the red room, and then using my instinct I noticed that Alexa was sitting down. Upon reviewing the map, I realised that she was actually in the corpse's bedroom. The very bedroom I passed through to get where I was now hiding. After a long time of being trapped in the closet and taking a large number of selfies, Alexa finally made her way to the red room to scream profanities into the ether. As she began screaming into a cushion, I headed in and smothered her to death, with the cushion then vanishing into thin air. I exited the red room and headed back to the corpse's bedroom balcony to find a conveniently placed ladder right next to an exit. I walked across the tiny bridge, and whilst it felt like I did a lot more than the poison tea assassination, it actually took a lot longer. So again, it was back to the drawing board with plan B, the red room, out the window. In run 17, I saved the game once I was in the manor and wanted to knock out the detective, as I wanted to test a theory. Would Alexa still head to the bedroom if she was with the detective, or would she only head there if she hadn't met the detective? I headed to the room and waited in the hidden passageway behind the two-way mirror, and then looked up to see a hanging planter I could drop onto her head. Before I knew it, my itchy trigger finger had knocked it clean off and made a mess all over the floor. I decided to press on and collect the case file, only to alert the nearby guard with my speed and allow myself to be caught scraping his friend's corpse across the ground. I took him out and headed back to the bedroom to wait for Alexa. I entered into the hidden passage and looked through the peephole to find a rotting corpse looking back at me. Wait, no, sorry, it was just Alexa. After this strange interaction, she headed into the bedroom to discover dirt all over the floor, but she didn't seem to care too much and then eventually took a seat to talk to the rotting corpse. I was about to shoot when I realised her bodyguard was also in the room as well, so opened the door, choked him out, and then shot Alexa as she began to leave. I headed down the ladder and finished the mission in 9 minutes and 23 seconds, but I wanted to try again to see if I could do it any cleaner and any quicker. In run 18, picked up the case file and spotted on the way out. In run 19, spotted on the bedroom balcony by the guard, so shot him dead. In run 20, I collected the case file and then realised that unfortunately there was no way of me actually speeding anything up at all, so I did have to wait for Alexa to make her way to the bedroom. As soon as she sat down, I choked out her guard and then shot her dead, slid down the ladder and exited the mission in 9 minutes and 24 seconds, which was 1 second slower than run 17. But it was a clean and successful run, and so because of this, I was done. So after 20 runs, it was time to turn all the HUD options off and attempt the mission for the final time. Now, without further ado, I present to you the execution stage of Death in the Family.
This is a private area, sir. Phineas Whitmer, private investigator. I have an appointment with Madame Carlyle. Please wait.
Mr. Whitmer is here to see Madame Carlyle.
You can go right in.
I wasn't in when Madame Carlyle showed up this morning. heart would have jumped right out of my chest.
But it did, huh? Still quite a shock, her coming back from the grave.
And her funeral tomorrow is still going ahead, even though she's still alive. Guests, coffin, priest and all. She never was a simple woman, circumstantial. On top of everything, Rosie thinks she's in love with young Patrick. I mean, that's a breaking heart happening if I ever saw one.
Poor thing.
And that detective asked to come here. Madame Carlyle must believe Zachary was murdered. Why else ask him to snoop around? You're pinching my knees from all this tension.
The safe is hidden behind a portrait, with a secret mechanism for uncovering it. It's got real soul.
Peculiar icons above the safe. I wonder if they might be some sort of a code. Maybe have a look around the office, 47. A safe in Madame Carlyle's office. I bet that's where she keeps the file on Arthur Edwards. Good work, 47. That's the file on Arthur Edwards secured. Time to take care of Madame Carlyle.
stage is set. Hidden desires, buried truths, conflict and intrigue.
If you only knew what we face, I wonder what you would do. Attack? Regroup? Close the gates and wait it out?
did was for nothing. Protect the Carlisle legacy, what bollocks. It's all gone. Bloody uninterrupted. See it?
Mission complete. Well done, 47.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then do be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all future episodes. This episode was live streamed over on Twitch, where I was able to interact with you guys amidst all of the accidents and mishaps I had along the way, including many failed no HUD attempts. All future episodes will be live streamed as well, so make sure you check out the link in the description to make sure you're following to join in the hunt. I will catch you in the next video. Happy hunting.